Hello, Chick Chatters. We are back with Netflix's Love is Blind. And we kind of start off with the couples in bed with their like cameras and stuff again. And this is when Taylor and JP are in bed and she says, "You can talk."
Oh. So I got that wrong.
Funny. They also show Lydia and Milton getting ready for something. And Lydia wants Milton to wear these black pair of pants. And he wants to wear gray, which I don't really see the difference, but whatever.
I think they were blue, actually.
I just think they were both trying to be stubborn with each other, to be honest. So my husband Dean was watching this with me because he's been watching the season with me, and he was just on Milton's side the whole time. So I'm sitting there cracking up because Dean's over here like, let the man decide. Let the man choose what he wants to wear. He doesn't go in your closet and tell you what to wear. And I just couldn't. I couldn't control myself. Sometimes men have strong opinions.
About the weirdest shit, like, I must wear these blue or gray pants instead of these black pants. I won't match you because I'm not 4.
But they didn't make it like a real actual argument. It was more like both of them being stubborn, and she kind of just relented with what he was wearing. He put it on and walked out in it. So
like they were both saying no to each other. They both like were strong in what they were saying, but they weren't like mad at each other. There wasn't any anger there at any point. Playful, they were like kissing each other, but they were disagreeing.
There was a lot of por favor.
Yes. A little bit of begging on Lydia's side.
Puppy eyes and everything, trying to look up into this tree of a man.
When Milton and Lydia met, we forgot to say that Lydia goes back in the confessional and she was like, "I'm marrying a giant."
I think this is one of the episodes maybe where we learn he's actually 6'7" or something. We go to a date with Taylor and JP, and they're riding like 4-wheelers or like ATVs. They actually looked like they had fun until they sat down for their picnic and they started talking, and we all know how that usually goes.
It's kind of crazy because this couple exclusively only can talk to each other about like their bodily functions and basic needs. Are you hungry or thirsty? I'm hot. I'm cold. I need a bath. Are you going to take a shower? Let's get some coffee. There's no other substance there other than basic needs and bodily functions. That's it, because there is nothing else there. There's just nothing else there.
And basically that's what Taylor's trying to get at for the millionth time. She's trying to tell him she needs him to open up more. He does tell her that he wants her to show her freckles more. I'm guessing wear less makeup, but it doesn't seem like she's been wearing any makeup for a while now. He does open up a little bit, and he says that he was just more comfortable in the pods, and I think that that's valid. But like we said in the last episode, I think that would also be a good time to try some kind of exercise, maybe related to the pods, that would help them. She also asks him his fears, and he says that he fears that she's just going to leave because he's not able to really open up. He does feel like she's always got one foot out the door. It seems like he's kind of on edge, like he doesn't really know what to do. This is where I think maybe it would be nice to have like a counselor or somebody around. Just even having the producers give them a deck of cards to play the same games they were playing in the pods. Like, you know what I mean? Like some kind of something.
It took JP 3 days to just come up with, oh, well, maybe it's different because we're out of the pod. Like, duh, it's different because you're out of the pod. It took you 3 days thinking about what's going on to come up with that answer.
Well, It took him 3 days to really say anything. He's just been kind of looking. Yeah, that was like his third sentence, to be honest. Well, if he just would have said his third sentence in the first day, he would have said it the first day.
True.
He just hasn't spoken. So she says she's going to give it some more time. Again, like she said before on the beach, she's saying it now. She's trying to give it a little bit more time. You can see Taylor is really trying to keep the store open. It seems like she's truly trying to get the person back that she had behind a wall. I don't think she cares about what he looks like, or I think she was just hoping that he was the same person on the other side and that he was also a little bit more outgoing.
No, I agree. I don't think that Taylor is really hard to please. I think all the things that she wanted to know about JP, she found out in the pod, and she just wanted to make sure that those things translated into real life, and she's having a hard time seeing those things from him It's pretty miserable. They really are just talking about their like bodily functions and needs, and that's all they can talk about. So we move on to Stacy and Izzy, and they're playing putt-putt, which me and Tyler play a lot. Stacy is full of dirty jokes. She's really vulgar, and I think it's funny. I don't know, it's just strange because she's always dressed in these cutesy little outfits. She looks like this perfect little doll.
As a big boob girl, it is hard for me to watch Stacy wear this top, especially doing something active. It's just so hard to watch because I could never. It just wouldn't even fit over the main thing. Then they go to Milton and Lydia, who are just eating and talking with their mouths full. It's a lot of what I got out of it.
Yeah, basically. Milton has like a pound of pasta on his fork, and he just keeps gathering up more for some reason. And it's very clear that that pasta is not hot. He comments that it's not hot. And right before he shoves a ball of pasta in his mouth, he blows on it.
I don't even remember what the conversation was about because I just kept thinking about how they keep talking with food in their mouth. And towards the end, it wasn't so bad, but in the beginning, I was like, you guys, what are you doing? I guess when they got to their food, it was cold, and that was because they were taking too long in the shower. So
we all know what they were doing in the shower. Right after dinner, they're just right back ready to go to the room. So this is a true honeymoon for Milton and Lydia.
When they went to their bed, I did wonder if somebody really does sprinkle that rose petal heart on their beds every single day. Wow, that seems like a lot of work.
Here comes a doozy of a scene. JP and Taylor. At this point, he just seems to be waiting for her to leave. He's not giving anything to her at all.
She starts kind of voicing her concerns again, and he tells her that she's been focused on the awkward part of their experience, this is like the first time I truly learned that the reveal, it was so awkward for them. He's like, well, I understand that you wanted to present yourself a certain way. He just felt like all the makeup she had on made her a little fake to him. So I kind of have like a hot take on this. I know it's not like what everybody is like saying, and I'm not saying that what he is saying about this whole makeup situation I agree with, because I do like to wear makeup. I think he was kind of harsh, but a lot of guys actually don't really love makeup like that. You know, guys just don't wear it, so they're not really used to it. So what guys don't really understand is that girls wear makeup for themselves, and guys think that girls wear makeup for them.
The problem with guys' opinions about makeup is that their opinions are kind of irrelevant, and when they open their mouths and share them, thinking that they're relevant, women get offended, men get confused. It's like a self-care ritual. Like every day you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you're accentuating the things that you like about yourself. Like I think it's actually a really healthy thing to do, and to an extent.
I also struggle with this too, is he knows he's on a TV show with her and she's about to do a reveal. So she probably is going to wear more makeup than normal. So he does lose me in this, but a lot of guys don't really prefer a lot of makeup or like false lashes and things like that, because then when you take that stuff off, they feel like you've lied to them or something. But the thing is when you are married, she's not gonna be wearing makeup every day like that. There's no way. Like I don't wear makeup unless I'm doing something where I need to.
That's why I think that it's kind of a dumb excuse for him to say, like, the problem was that you were wearing makeup. And she made the point, like, she hasn't been wearing makeup for the last 3 days, and yet he still persisted to be extremely awkward and have nothing to say. So I just don't think that that's the problem. And I'm sure she doesn't wear all the makeup she wore on the reveal to like work and stuff. She was dressed up like everybody was. So my theory about this is that after the reveal, because she had all that makeup on, I feel like he saw all of that at the reveal. Things were awkward, and he made up his mind after that about who she was based on her appearance. And he just thought that he was now with this like fake high maintenance kind of girl. And I think he just lost it for her ever since then. That's the only way I can make sense of why he really just was shut off ever since the beginning. And if he's saying it's because of your appearance, then he must have made all kinds of weird assumptions about girls who wear eyelashes and have like lip plumper on their lips.
She kind of walked off after the jacket comment and came back to kind of finish the conversation, which when she came back, I was glad she did that. It was a little bit smoother sailing after that. She thanked him for talking to her at all, because that's the most she got out of him, was even this argument. So
you can't just lie and be like, it's okay. Like, you can only do that for a couple of days. So yeah, I'm glad that he said what he said too, even if I don't agree with it. I think it's kind of BS, and you have to say whatever your truth is. That's how he's seeing it, at least. But I do think it's a cop out still, not wearing makeup for days, and he still sucks. So that's why I think he must have made up his mind before about what it meant for her to wear that amount of makeup. Like, that's the only way that explanation can even make sense.
Well, he was worried that he was going to have to deal with it all the time.
Right. He thought that she was this high maintenance. He thought she was Stacy.
Well, thank goodness he didn't get with Stacy. But yeah, so she took her space. She went into a different room, and you can kind of just see them going their separate way. She took everything, though, when she went to a separate room. She took her luggage and everything. I noticed that. I've seen people sleep in other rooms before, and I've only ever seen someone take all of their luggage one other time, and that was Shayna when she left. Yeah, so after that, they show the next morning and stuff, and the only thing I have to say about Stacy and Izzy was I had to kind of keep myself from gagging a little bit when I heard Stacy say, if only the camera could smell right now, and they show this like pile of clothes or something in a bag. I'm like, oh my god, girl, no, ew,
I know,
gross,
like,
no.
how disgusting are you guys? Like, it can't be that bad. You're living in luxury in Mexico. You're not working like hard labor.
According to Stacy, she lives in luxury all the time. So it's like, why is it this way? Why? I don't want to hear if only the camera can smell when I'm looking at something disgusting. Like, gross. Don't say that to me. Yeah, so then they go to Milton and Lydia, and they're kind of showing Lydia kind of trolling Milton about leaving towels everywhere. She's kind of having to guide him about cleaning up. He says, I don't know what to do with this. Is he like just staying there holding this towel? And there's like, I'm sure a rail he could hang it from right next to him, but he just kind of like, I think he even just threw it on the floor.
He doesn't do anything. He just like and then as soon as he does that, it like pans over and she's picking up another towel off the floor. She's like, why am I picking up wet towels everywhere? I felt like I heard my mother ask me that when I was 14 years old somewhere. Where are all these wet towels coming from? Like,
I really thought it was the same towel he just threw down too. I was like,
could have been. Who knows what they do with the editing these days. But yeah, that was really funny. I had a good laugh at that. I look forward to their scenes, especially it's a nice break after what's going on with Taylor and JP.
Well, it doesn't last long because then we go back to Taylor and JP. And they meet up. It seems like in some weird sitting area. They must have cleared it out for the show, but to talk to JP, who's sitting there waiting for her. He's coming into this trying to fix things, but Taylor's telling him that her feelings have changed. That seeing the other couple so happy and everything made it extra clear to her that this was just not working and she couldn't make it work. Like Stanika would say from Match Me Abroad, they had no chemistry.
No chemistry.
So Taylor says it feels forced being with JP, and she took in his words the night before, so she's just she's done with it.
She's over it. He gives her more of the same. I mean, that's cool that like you want to try and everything, but you are not offering anything. It's manipulative to just say, like, I'm not going to give up. Okay, so you're just pushing it over on her to be the one that has to end things when you're not offering anything. I don't like it. I feel really happy for her in this moment, but it is sad. I just had high hopes for them as like the first engaged couple. So they do say sorry to each other after Taylor gives the ring back. They hug. And she says, deuces.
So then he asks her what they do now. She says, go home, as she wants to feel like herself again. And he actually agreed with that. It was funny in their hug that he gave her like a kiss on the head.
On the head, yeah.
Yeah. And then when they do cut to a little confessional with Taylor, she says that she does think love is blind because she fell in love with him through a wall. But maybe that's just really not enough in the real world. Goodbye, JP and Taylor, and now we are down to literally 2 couples, which is infuriating because we learn, spoiler, a lot more couples got engaged and there was almost a marriage.
7 couples
in total. And we're only now watching 2. Let that sink in for just
more on that in future episodes. But this is where some saltiness starts to set in for me and Anne. But we're still here. We're still hanging out.
We are now down to our two couples, and they are moving back in. They're back in Houston, Lydia and Milton, and she's kind of parenting him about sitting on the counter, because guys usually when they hit their 30s don't really be sitting on the counters like that all the time. I mean, I don't know. I don't really see it that often. I didn't think about it till I watched this scene, but it is a much like younger thing to do, like jump on the counter. Like my dad would never in his 60s like just jump up on the counter.
I think you're right. I do remember I used to like really kind of live on the countertops a lot. And I'd sit and have conversations and hang out, like especially in college. But now, no, I couldn't really. I mean, I have chairs.
Well, yeah, I think Milton's 6'7", so that's just a seat for him. So he's just...
That's what I'm thinking. That's where I'm giving him some flexibility on that, because maybe it's more comfortable for him. Yeah, I think it might just be like a giant person's chair.
So then we get to Milton and Lydia, and they're talking about their jobs and how they're on opposite work schedules right now for this part of the experiment, which it does suck right now because they only have so many days to really establish a firm connection before getting married. So them being on opposite work schedules, even for 4 days of 7, doesn't really cut it.
I was just as worried as Lydia was at first. Like, is this how it's going to be forever? And he did say that it's not something that happens frequently, that he's assigned to these like jobs for the night shift, and that it's just for a couple of days. But it is tough.
And on top of that too, Milton says he's a younger guy in his company, so they're gonna keep doing this to him. The lower you are on a scale, and the more you got to work yourself up. And I also see where you were coming in the other episode about these camera angles, because we got this weird camera angle of them hugging and we just see the underboob of Lydia and her stomach, and it was just so awkward and weird. I was like, I don't want to see that. What was the point of this 3 seconds of her underboob?
No, I don't get it. I think they're trying to give us a vibe that we're like looking from afar.
Well, it makes me feel like I'm looking through their house plants or something. Like,
I know. I know. I'm not trying to hide in the bushes. Like, I'm a little bit nosy and creepy, but I'm not that weird.
So then we go back to Stacy and Izzy, and Stacy is talking about her family being supportive of her and them and whatever, and she's worried about Izzy
you're
having
sending
doubt.
a boat.
I didn't know if that was legit or if that was like...
I think that's real after meeting her family. I think they're sending a boat.
Her family might be sending them a boat. We're not really sure. I guess we'll see how it plays out. I would hope they'd show us, but apparently Netflix don't show us much of nothing. So Izzy's mom is worried that he might not be fully confident in somebody enough to marry them, because he's apparently had this tendency before in relationships, which I honestly related to a lot. I've been very unconfident in people in the past to where I wouldn't post them or just things. So I kind of get that, what he was getting at, but I can understand why there's a lot of concern on everybody's sides. So yeah, that's all.
Yeah, he comes across as someone who is not really ready for marriage, other than that he has this sense of emotional stability. But the more I see him talk to the women that aren't Stacy, he doesn't seem very stable to me. But so it's 20 days, it flashes on the bottom, 20 days to the weddings. And we start with Milton and Lydia, and we go to Milton's apartment, and he has a cow rug that Lydia is unimpressed with, to say the least. She's like, right away, these rugs have got to go. And I started rolling laughing when he goes, oh, well, you're gonna love what you see in the bedroom, and he has another rug. The same thing. He actually says that one's nicer or something for some reason. But yeah, I mean, his apartment's like a typical 24-year-old. He's got some strip club money hanging out that he agrees and confirms is definitely for the strip club. It's sitting on top of his Playboy magazines. There's nothing on the walls. It is clean, but it just looks like nobody lives there.
She cracks me up because apparently he told her he doesn't have much, and she's like, well, of course you don't have much, you have nothing. But it was funny to me. He called his apartment minimalistic when trying to explain why he didn't have anything, and she's like, it's not minimalistic, it's just being lazy. She did not agree with that.
But he does have his microscope out on like the little kitchen island. She's attracted to it right away. She wants to like, get to seeing what you can see. And he's like, nope, 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 nope. Like holding her hands, just letting her look into it. I guess it's like a cheaper version of the ones that they used in grad school or something. So I can appreciate that he probably doesn't want it to fall apart, but it was funny because he was so excited to have his little microscope moment.
He might have other ones maybe that he was hoping to share with Lydia, but
That's
maybe
true.
she's just a little rough on this microscope. But this is when like his roommate comes in and he's very robotic, and I don't know if it's because the cameras are there and he's not used to it, but it is so funny watching this roommate to me.
But he's smooth when he talks. I mean, he is
Yeah.
on it, like being such a good friend, talking up, but it seems like he just doesn't miss a beat. Like he's smooth with it. He'll take ownership for the Playboy stuff right away. There's no glances or no stumbling. Like he's a good friend.
When he says that those are his Playboys, I'm like, those were right outside Milton's bed. Like
they were in his bathroom on top of Milton's strip club money.
Yeah, they were Milton's, but Lydia immediately offers him both rugs and he's like thankful for it. He says the word Liddy, or maybe Milton does, and Lydia was like, Lydia. Like she was very confused. That's a little bit of a gap between us, I guess, too, because I would say lit, but Liddy is feels a little weird in the mouth when you hit 30. Yeah, it feels a little weird on the tongue. But then they talk about the Pokemon showdowns and how Milton was banned in 5 countries. And this is when I paused and like looked at my husband and was like, he's your favorite, isn't he? Because my husband plays Pokemon in his 30s. And he's like, yeah, I got the most faith in him. You know, he's the most nerdy, and he's a Pokemon guy. Like, you know, he's just got it together. And I'm like, okay, sir. So that just proves that men never grow out of the video games, you guys. Milton's not going to never be a Pokemon master. He's going to be a Pokemon trainer until he is probably in his 70s. It's never going to stop.
We watch reality TV to unwind, and they play video games. I mean, everyone has their vices, so...
Yeah, Dean was like, the man's banned in 5 countries. Like, what's not to respect on Pokemon? I'm like,
what a legend. Yeah.
Like, yes, I'm sure that makes him a great partner for a 30-year-old.
Yeah, he probably had to make like at least 1 million teenage and adolescent boys cry because of that.
Right. Like, I know Milton has like literally nothing in his apartment, but I feel he has the making of a Brett Brown, where eventually he would have all these nice things once he gets older, though. But Brett Brown, you got to remember, is closer to his 40s. So it took a lot of years to get probably to Brett Brown.
Yeah. No, I think you make a wonderful point in that Milton has so much potential. Usually when you say someone has potential, they have like something bad going for them. The only bad thing for Milton is that he's 24. Like he can't help that. He's gonna learn and live and have more life experiences eventually. But he's wonderful, and
then we go to Izzy and Stacy, and they're at Stacy's house. Her house is under construction, so we only see like bits and pieces of it. What I loved was her kitchen. Her kitchen was gorgeous. The brick walls and the green cabinets on the bottom. I just was in love with her kitchen.
And then she sits down and wants to have this money conversation with Izzy, which I thought was astonishing, given that she's about to tell us that her family has a bunch of money, basically, that she has not had this conversation with Izzy before. You guys just got fully engaged, and you didn't even bring up that your family has money and you have all these expectations about that.
Yeah, that's where I started kind of agreeing with Johnny, where like the pods is a time for all of this. You know, you should have had a lot of these conversations in the pods. Yeah, she brings up money. She wants him to go 50-50 on the house, on everything. But then when it comes to dinner, she wants him to pay 100%. I think that's a little excessive. I don't pay most of the time I go out with Dean, but if it's like my idea, I'll pay. We're not always 50-50, but you know what I mean? Like it just depends on what's going on with each other's finances. I think it's a lot to expect a guy to pay for everything 100% of the time.
I think it is too. I think that there are some men who are able to do that, and it's one thing to say, this is what I want to do for you, and maybe that's what she's used to, but to expect that, I think, is a lot to expect, especially especially when you're expecting him to go 50-50 on a house that's not his, that he could very much walk away from one day, just paying for half of your furnace. I think what we're learning about Stacey, she's not just going to like Wendy's or even Olive Garden for dinner. When she's like, what about dinners? He said, it depends. And it does. I think that's pretty typical.
With this whole money thing is that it seems like then she wants all of his money then to go towards their needs and her needs, and then all her money goes towards her own needs, because she's like, I work for myself and for the things I want.
I don't want to worry about money. I want to be comfortable. She did not say, I don't want us to worry about money.
And she gets into this long family history of, my family hasn't always had money. My grandfather had nothing, got evicted. We all have this work ethic, which that's all great and amazing. But you also did not have this conversation with this man in the pods before you chose. So, and Izzy seems uncomfortable the entire time that they're talking. Like he's kind of awkwardly smiling and agreeing with her, but it seems like he's offering her more than he can chew. I'm not sure if Izzy has the financials for the luxury that Stacey requires. I guess she also has a dad that's going to foot the bill if he can't foot the bill, is what she's claiming. She doesn't want to be with a man who knows this and is going to take advantage of her dad footing the bill, because at the end of the day, he will. And I'm like,
right,
okay.
But all of a sudden now Izzy's on the hook to have to feel guilty for every expense that he can't foot all of a sudden after just meeting someone in the pods. I think she is really asking for quite a bit, and she feels like she's compromising a lot by being okay with this. It's not a bad thing to want nice things, especially if you have the money to buy them. I'm not mad at her for it. I think she's expecting a lot from him, just like he could have met someone who had nothing truly, and she's expecting him to treat her like she has nothing. But she has everything. Because she has everything, he has to all of a sudden provide it now. And if he can't, then not only is she going to be mad, her dad's going to be mad. Like,
yeah.
I think Stacey's using her dad. Stacey is overextending her means. If she needs to call up dad all the time to pay for her bills, why doesn't Stacey get her finances in order? She's not paying for her own dinners. Like, what is Stacey paying for?
When is his credit score going to come up then? Is he not going to bring up his finances and the true state there, and he's just gonna let this girl kind of think? Because she said, we're gonna go over this account, that account
That's
before we
when it's
get married.
Gonna happen.
So I guess we'll see. After them, we get our final scene of the episode, and that is Aaliyah actually sitting at a restaurant, and she's in this really cute like white dress. I really loved her puff sleeves. But she looks like she's waiting for Uche, and she's sitting there for a while, and then he does walk in the door of this restaurant, and they do show us a little bit of that conversation before they cut us off. So they show us Aaliyah telling Uche that she regrets leaving, she loves him, and that she basically just wants to continue being with him.
Yeah.
Probably even the experiment of the show. Probably like pulling like a Zach and Bliss.
Right. That's what I'm hoping for in this moment when I see that.
But yeah, that's it for this episode, Chick Chatters.
We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.